night, something was stolen from each of our champions. A treasure of sorts. These 4 treasures, one for each champion, now lie on the bottom of the Black Lake. In order to win, each champion need only find their treasure and return to the surface. Simple enough.
Put that in your mouth.
Except for this. They will have but 1 hour to do so, and 1 hour only. After that, they'll be on their own. No magic will save them. You may begin at the sound of the cannon.
What's the matter with him?
I don't know, I can't see him.
Oh my god! I've killed Harry Potter! But she's my friend Timmy!
Only one.
C'est fini, viens, donne-moi.
Go get him another towel.
I want all the judges over here now.
You saved her even though she wasn't yours to save. My little sister. Thank you. And you helped.
Well, yeah, a bit.
Gabrielle, ma belle, viens.
Merci.
Hey there, LEGO fans and Potterheads. I'm the lawyer in the LEGO Shed, and this is the 47th in a series of videos that I'll be making as I build my way through the magical world of LEGO Harry Potter. I've been collecting the Harry Potter LEGO line since it started back in 2001 with the release of the very first movie. And for this video series, I'll be building sets that have been part of the more recent waves of Harry Potter LEGO, beginning in 2018 and stopping with the 2023 releases. The plan is to go in movie order, and so, without further ado, let's get started. Today we're taking a look at set number 76420, Triwizard Tournament, the Black Lake. This set depicts the stands and part of the Mer People village that Harry finds at the bottom of the Black Lake as part of the second task. Released in 2023, this set has 349 pieces and a total of 5 minifigures, all of which are unique to this set. This is actually the second time that LEGO has released a set depicting this particular scene. Back in 2005, LEGO released set number 4762, Rescue from the Mer People. Notably here, the set hit many of the exact same beats as the set that we're talking about today. 4762 had 5 minifigures representing the exact same characters that we'll see in 76420. And the set depicts Ron and Hermione tied up at the Mer People's village and has them sleeping, incidentally. And 4762 also included several underwater creatures, including a mer person. As we'll see in just a bit, revisiting this scene was very welcome, primarily because the designers upgraded basically every element of the set and then added on to it. Starting first with the above water / stands portion of the set, we can see right away that things have been reduced in scale and height from how they're depicted in the movie, but all the essential components are definitely there. We can see the small platform from where the champions stand just before they jump into the water, a small ladder for them to climb up to the upper level, and a lovely platform with a white railing where the spectators can stand. And then we even have an interior portion with a small little coffee urn and some cups. We also have a small little jar here, which isn't necessarily labeled, but it likely represents the gillyweed that Neville gives Harry just before the challenge begins.
Oh my god! I've killed Harry Potter!
Up at the very top, we can also see this nice sand green roof and the clock showing the champions how much time they have remaining in the challenge. Moving on to the lower portion, we can see some aquatic plants, and at the base of a huge stone archway, we have Ron and Hermione chained up and in an enchanted sleep while they await their champion to rescue them. The pair are guarded by a fearsome-looking mer person with a trident, and the set also includes a small crab, a fish, and even a Grindylow. What I love, first off, about this set is the fact that LEGO was even willing to revisit it and essentially to find so many different upgrades in it. In particular, I loved that we got the 3 above water spectator platforms, or a depiction of one of them. This was conspicuously absent from 4762 back in the day. And while it isn't perfect, I do think that they did a good job with the overall shaping of the roof and capturing the essence of the structure itself. I also really enjoyed the overall design of the set, to give us both the platform and the underwater scene divided by this dark blue plate that represents the surface of the water. I thought was a great idea, and I really loved the color scheme of the underwater portion. I find it engaging and really interesting, especially just from a color perspective. I also loved how every minifig got an upgrade, and we even finally got a Grindylow as a cute little addition here. We'll talk more about him in just a bit. Things that I didn't love, unfortunately, there's still a lot of shortcomings with this set. As was true with 4762, we are missing at least half of the people who are relevant to this scene: Cedric, Fleur, Cho, and Gabrielle. You could say that even more people could have been included, like Mad-Eye Moody and Neville, but they would definitely be secondary to at least rounding out the champions and their person to rescue. Second, and probably the most obvious, we are missing 2 other spectator platforms. In the movie, we see 3, presumably one for each of the planned champions, and here we only get 1. And if we had included 2 more people to rescue, we likely should have needed 1 more archway even. So we just needed more space on this set, I think. Finally, while I'm so glad to see us getting yet another creature from the Harry Potter universe, it was a little frustrating to only get 1 of these little guys. These Grindylows were an exclusive mold for this set and only came in this set ever. So it seems a little odd that LEGO would make a custom element for a small creature and then only give 1 of them, especially when they travel in packs very obviously within the scene itself. Now, for those of you who have been watching this channel for a while now, you may be wondering why I haven't shown my copy of this set yet. Well, that's because when I find a set lacking in a way that this one was, I just can't help but try to fix it. So, here is my version of the set. And in order to get here, I did have to purchase 3 different copies of 76420, and I incorporated elements from the 2 copies of 4762 that I already owned from when I was a kid. So let's see if we can get all of this into the frame here. All right, we now have the full rendition here, and I'm just going to briefly walk through each of the components that we have. So for those LEGO diehards, you probably notice already these 2 little side pieces. These are effectively direct lifts from the 4762 set from Days Gone By. It was really fun to get to include and incorporate them here. I've got, nice little, the jellyfish that came with that set. You can even see one of the original mer people here as well. And then on this side, on this little version over here, I've got a Fleur Delacour getting attacked by some Grindylows. And there actually was a play feature that was part of 4762 that I managed to keep here. And I'll just briefly show you. So on this side, it allows our mer person to go up and down. And then over here, we've got Fleur, who's getting attacked by a trio of Grindylows, just like she does in the movie. So I thought that was a fun way to kind of like make reference and include these different elements here. Then, as you can see, I've just got the 3 platforms. There's literally no change here. We'll talk more about the minifigs in a second. And then I've also just echoed the bottom as well with these nice 3 big arches that are from the set itself. I did incorporate here a more floating version of one of the mer people. So she's kind of floating there in the archway along with Cho, as she is attached to similar apparatus to Ron and Hermione. So she's over here on this far side. Then on the other side, I went ahead and included Gabrielle to have her be present as well. And then also included the nice big octopus that is from 4762 as kind of a background to fill in that negative space for the archway there. You can also see here, in addition to the arches, the green arches from the old set, I also included the nice bright blue as well from that older set to kind of like round out our little mer person village. You also probably noticed as I was moving this a little bit earlier, there are a few other components that are direct references to that older set. I've got a little staircase with some transparent pieces on the side. Again, this was one of the smaller builds that came from 4762, so it just tucks in right here. We also have an additional mer person who's right here, and she just goes right in front of Fleur with the Grindylows. And then we had a little side build that I went ahead and attached Victor Crumb to in his shark form. Made him a little dynamic and moving toward Hermione to rescue her. This is a direct copy of one of the builds from that older set as well. And then just riffed a little bit and made my own little platform to have Harry also in some dynamic motion, going to save Ron. But in keeping with the same color scheme and the same formatting as we had with the others. So now, underwater, we have not only Gabrielle and Cho, who's over here, but we have Fleur Delacour, who's right here getting attacked by the Grindylows, and we even have Cedric Diggory, who's coming to save Cho. I will show these minifigs a little bit closer in just a second, but there is the full scope of kind of the way that I've built this out to make the scene a little bit more accurate. The things that I still want to do, I do want to get to these little rowboats. These were also a factor that came with each of them, one little rowboat. I want to find a way to meaningfully have them float up here at the water level. I'm workshopping a few ideas, but I really wanted to get this video out soon. So I went ahead and shelved that project for a little bit later on, but I still have those rowboats that I want to work on. And then, as you can see here, I have some above water versions of everybody. I would really love to get one more minifig of Floor so that she can be an above water version as well. So we have all of our champions on the platforms, and then we have all of our champions down in the water as well. Okay, so that's how I decided to tackle it. If I'm being honest, I can't get enough of how well this turned out. I think it did exactly what I wanted it to, of making that Merperson village feel very full, while at the same time paying homage to the different version that we had from the past, as well as this current version we have. Now we can move on to the minifigs. We'll start first with those that came with the set itself. Let's start with Harry. He does look great with his Goblet of Fire hair that we can see. He also has some nice gills on the sides of his face as part of his transformation from taking the gillyweed. He's got his official second task uniform here, and then he's even got printing on the back with his name. All of it looks great and is exactly what you would want. He even has some foot flippers, which we can see on his underwater version, which I'll just show you here, that are in that nice flesh tone, just like happens when he dives in. The one thing that is worthy of acknowledgement is Harry's not supposed to be in pants. He's supposed to be in some nice little trunks. So it's the one complaint that I have about him, as well as the other figures that we'll talk about in a second. But he is missing some trunks, which would have been really nice here. So one thing for him. Next up, we've got Victor Crumb, and his above water version looks great and is a stark contrast from the Victor Crumbs that we had seen already in two prior sets. He's in his second task uniform, and both times that we saw him previously in 2019, he had a really odd face that didn't fit him and a hairpiece that didn't make sense. But here we've got an improved hairpiece and face print that shows off his subtle little facial hair and thick eyebrows. And then on the reverse side of his head, we have some really odd printing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense until you put on the shark head. So when he is under the water, which we'll grab this guy here, we can see that with the shark head on, it just looks like an open shark mouth. And you can see the tongue in there and into the depths, and it ends up looking really effective for that transformation that Crumb undergoes when he jumps into the water and transfigures his head to be that of a shark. It does look a little cartoony, even though I think it is quite ingenious. It is a little cartoony for my preference, but I think the overall effect is really quite good. As was true with Harry, Victor also has the problem of not being in swim trunks. He's just wearing some red pants, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense given that they already have the dual molding factor that they could be doing here. So it was a little disappointing to not see Victor also get the appropriate wear that he should. As far as the underwater folks that we have, though, let's start with our Merperson. We'll just grab this one here since she's grabbable. She's done in the correct style for Harry Potter. Beautiful flowing hair that's actually a recolor from a hairpiece that was first used in the ill-fated video series of LEGO, and has only ever been released one other time, but here it's extremely effective. The face and the torso are excellent custom prints, and that tail is actually a custom mold as well, and has only been released one other time since. I will say that I was a little disappointed to not get some printing on that tail, especially where it was a custom mold. But otherwise, I think the overall effect is really excellent for her. And last but not least, we have the Sleeping Ron and Hermione here. I'll throw up some pictures of them since they are currently attached to the display here. They look exactly as all the other times we've seen Ron and Hermione in this in the Goblet of Fire sets. Except this time that we've got sleeping expressions, which are most welcome so that they can be part of the scene here. Now let's get to the figures that were not included in this set. First up, we have our two remaining champions, Cedric and Fleur. I actually ended up making two custom versions of these guys back when I showed a mock at BritCon in 2017 that was focusing on the Goblet of Fire, particularly the 3 tasks. And I made some outfits for them. So I'll just show you here what I ended up coming up with for them. This is my Cedric. He's got a very, straightforward little riff on what Harry's uniform was for the Triwizard tournament. And then in following with the style of that Harry that they did, I kept him looking like he was wearing swim trunks in the only way that they did back then, which was basically to make it look like everybody was wearing a Speedo. So that's what he's got going. And then you'll notice, too, that I did the head bubble charm in the style that it is in the book, that it fully encases the minifig head. And these actually come from a lamppost in one of the old Winter Village sets. So it was a really fun way to represent that head bubble charm. But that's Cedric, in his transform version. I figured I'd include him here since at this point they had not released him with it. But then in 2024, they did release a Cedric minifig that is meant to be from the second task. You can see here that these guys look pretty similar in the sense that they've got their same kind of uniform vibe. More appropriate coloring, obviously, on the one that was official from Lego. And then on the back, you can see here we've also got some darker printing for his name. He's even got that little watch print on his arm from that moment that he looks at Harry while they're underwater. You'll notice here that I've got his main face facing out rather than the head bubble charm side of his face. For the movies, they actually made the head bubble charm just go around the nose and the mouth. Well, I appreciate that that decision was made for the movies. I personally like my little head bubble charm representation, so I'm going to stick with them. But yeah, it's nice to have an official Cedric. It was frustrating that he was hidden behind a $25 book purchase, but that was the only way to get a hold of him in this form. So here we are as a lifelong Lego collector. Okay, let's talk about Fleur, the little custom figure I did of her. I'll just show you here. She had to do a lot of workshopping to figure out a hairpiece that would work for her. It would have been nice to get her in the ponytail, but that was not an option for the size of the head bubble charm. But I made this nice little torso top that she would look like she was in her nice silvery gray bathing suit. And then I managed to also get her Beauxbatons symbol on the back there. So rounding out our champions, we have these two, which I think ultimately were quite effective. And I was glad to get to include them in this display since they were something that I invested a lot of time and energy into back in the day. Next, we can move on to the two folks that Cedric and Fleur were supposed to rescue, Cho Chang and Gabrielle Delacour. They are also chained to the set here, so I'll show just images of them. Gabrielle is actually from set number 75958, and while she's not wearing the correct outfit for this scene, she's actually supposed to be in some kind of dressing gown, as you can see in the photo here. The designers did have the foresight to include a dual printed head with her that shows her sleeping, which is a delightful inclusion, and then allowed me to include her here and have it make sense. So I appreciated that it showed a lot of some forethought on the part of the designers there. Cho, on the other hand, is sadly just a figure from another set because they, despite having numerous opportunities to do so, have never actually released a version of her with a sleeping face. So Cho is just floating down here, eyes wide open, totally awake. And, even though I can't really get a hold of one that would represent her well, it is nice to just have her included in whatever capacity I could. So with that, for my overall impression, I'd say that I really did enjoy this set overall, especially considering the ways in which it was improved upon from its original version. And if anything, what I really wanted from it was more of it. Hence the reason that I ended up buying 3 of them for my display and incorporating the ones that I had from my childhood, which I think ultimately worked out in the way that I wanted it to. I also wish that along with the upgrades that we got, we could have gotten a few more depiction of the champions that were missing so that we could really round this out. But overall, I think this is a really successful set. And that is it for, let me find our set number again. That is it for set number 76420. If there's anything else that you think that I should be covering in these reviews, feel free to drop a comment and let me know. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have an awesome day.